Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I really want to thank you, really from the bottom of my heart, to allowing me to join you in your conversations. And a lot of you, we talk, as in you message me and we have really good discussions. And I really appreciate that. I just wanted to let you know. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy talking about these esoteric topics and taking it to a deeper quantum physics kind of way where it's practical in your everyday life. Like, what is spirituality? Why do we even have to be spiritual? What is the divine? And how do we know and make that connection stronger? As in, the concept I want to talk about today has to do with that. There's a key concept that it's a key to the matrix, the key to the dunya. Dunya is an illusion. It's a matrix. It is Maya, right? So this is a key concept to seed in your mind. And then from that, it's like you cultivate that within. You cultivate it more and it grows and grows. So I'm going to explain that concept in this video. And I promise you that if you allow this concept to plant in your mind, then it is like taking the red pill. It really is. Because in the times we're living in, it's gonna grow no matter what. It's in front of your face. It's all about your own life. Your life is in front of your face, as in, like, what do you want to do with your life? There's a lot of avenues you can take right now, no matter what. You can learn a skill. You can become more valuable to your company. Or you can relearn an old skill you let yourself forget. I mean, all kinds of avenues to allow your energy to give itself out, and then you get what you give out. In life, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. Okay. And the key concept is that you have to understand that life doesn't happen to you. Okay? A lot of people, most people live in that mindset that life isn't happening to them, and they have to just, that's how it is, and it's the cards you're dealt with and all this stuff, and it's just the way it's supposed to be, and you just have to, knuckle up and sweat and tears and struggle. That's one approach. That's the majority, okay? At some kind of level, You have to get away from that understanding and realize that life doesn't happen. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. Life does not happen to you. Life happens for you. And to get to that state, you have to understand the dunya. You have to understand metaphysical concepts. There are principles. There are unseen. There are principles that are utilized in even quantum physics. Unseen. No one has seen an atom before. They just even those. It's just basically. Wow, it's just such a deep concept that I don't even want to get to that in this. But what I want to talk about is, why does this matter in your life, and how can it benefit you? Because you understand that this is still an illusion, and I'd rather have life happening for me than to me. For me, not to me. It's literally catered for you, and that is based upon your own consciousness, your own understanding, your own projection, your own mindset. you know, your own thoughts about your own self. It's your ego. It's the ego that is attached to its reflection, and it has to keep that reflection alive. And if that reflection gets shaken up, excuse me, it reverts to its reptilian brain. It reverts to its survival mechanism, where it's like it'll attach onto a authority figure. It's a government or its job, so it becomes like this type formed, you know, uh, like really dedicated, I don't know, just really like the instinct of the survival kicks in, and based upon how much this person is fearing about the virus and all this stuff, and how much they're being affected by it, what are they putting their time into now? Are they binge eating? Are they binge, watching Netflix all night? I mean, I don't know, because that'll affect everything in life. But if your image of yourself is, hey, you know what? You have a certain image of yourself. If you're Muslim, if you believe in Jannah, you have to believe in Jannah, right? You have to believe in all these concepts. And in those conceptual states, in Jannah, when you imagine yourself in heaven, when you were a child, you imagine yourself in heaven. Like literally, I imagine myself in heaven. I imagine myself, I don't know, maybe when I was like 15 years old, I imagined myself in heaven. My heaven, I was on a coast highway, in a Ferrari, in a Ferrari convertible, and just kind of hugging the coast. And it basically, later on, I realized that that was the California coast, and it's not too far from here. And it's like that concept, had I understood this concept of what you imagine yourself, and you plant that image in your mind, your subconscious mind will always try to build that image somehow, somewhere, somehow it's gonna, and it's like it builds it for you, and it depends on that, how strong that image is, and how much emotion does that image invoke. And if you understand these concepts, you can plant images now, like literally you can plant these images of yourself doing something in the future, like, say, imagining yourself on the beach drinking coffee, and imagining that you live on the beach, and this is happening in 6 months. Okay, like it's happening very soon. It doesn't matter. It's like that's how you imagine yourself. You're not old man. You're not like, it's like, yeah, maybe, okay, you think about what time okay, maybe it's like it's like 8-9 months later, in some 9 months, and it's like, okay, and you imagine yourself, and you don't think about what your business you do. You don't think about anything. Just all you do is you become that version of yourself. How does that version act? And in that version state, that vibrational state of being, then you do your passions. Your passion might be a website, some e-commerce store you're building. This is my passion is talking, actually. This is literally my passion. And I have some other things I do, but this is another avenue that it kind of, this happens and then that happens. It's my own reality. This is how it works for me. And wow, you can see it's like it's energy. That's all it is. Because what you are, whatever you, it's like you don't get what you want. You get what you are. So if you really are a person that is sincere about your spirituality, your your state with the divine, like who is the divine, what is the divine, and how do you get closer to it, and how to conceptualize it in a sense where you it's like you don't need mediator, you don't need anybody in the middle to tell you how to understand the divine, you know? You don't need dogmatic institutional systems to tell you, no, you cannot think, you can't get to this answer like this. What you did, you can't do that. You have to do it this way. You know, that's what I'm saying, that is anything that takes you and makes you fear and makes you rigid and makes you arrogant and makes you one-sided, that inherently is I don't, you know, I don't agree with that, you know. And the thing is that a lot of people have been tricked in this illusion, and we have to understand that this is an illusion. There's a concept of the doll, you know, and most people think it's, they don't know what it is, but it's like, oh, it's a one-eyed, you know, it has a left eye is blind. Oh no, the right eye is blind. And then they got caught in these debates, like, no, no, this hadith said that the left eye is a grapefruit, you know, floating grape, and then, you know, I'm just saying, my concept was the left eye, blind in the left eye, and it's like a fake eye, and just sees with its right eye, and you know, it has these signs. It's muscular and it's ready, you know, and it's travels by, and it's chained up, but then when it's unleashed in the end of days, you know, end times, it travels by the airplane, and you know, this donkey with this wings spread out, you know, and it's like, how do you explain to people that are these nomads in the Arabian desert 1,500 years ago what an airplane is? It's a concept that you can't understand, but then they put in metaphor, a donkey with its wings spread out, you know, flying through the air, you know, like a giant donkey, you know. Then you understand what a donkey is. Like, no one loves the sound of a donkey, you know. It's not a cute sound, you know. No one likes that. So it's the sound of a donkey. So no one likes airplane going by, you know. That's not a good sound to hear. With its wing, with its thing spread out, you know. It's a metaphor. And it's like, it talks about the time, you know. It's about the elephant, you know. Wings spread out. That was weird, but this is just a banana peel. And basically, yeah, and we get caught in all these details and its actual person, but if you understand the concept, the metaphysical concept about the left eye being blind, what is that? I mean, your eyes don't see, they just refract the light. And the right eye is actually controlled by the left brain, the left side of the brain, which is the masculine side of the brain, which is, has to do with structure and like the, you know, the five senses, and then the left side, left eye is controlled by the right side of the brain, which is the side that has to do with art, that has to do with emotions, and has to do with creativity and creation, you know. Concepts, even imagine, it comes from the right side. And then what happens is it feeds into the left side, and then the left side just, you know, just makes it into all these forms, and it suppresses this side, you know, and it dominates the right side, and it becomes like a, you know, and this right side is so powerful that it always comes out in different ways. And to understand these concepts, I mean, there's a chemical process going on, there's alchemy going on, there's magic going on. This is what it means to plant seeds, and the Kabbalah and the tree of life and these dimensions. This is why I talk about it. You can literally imagine a whole scenario, okay, as a visualization act. I teach this, like, I mean, you can imagine it, you can write down certain details, and then what you do is you then write down that story, and then from that story you make a logo from that story, a logo, okay, and what you do is then you again read that story, you imagine that story, and you imagine that logo being in that story, and you imagine magically it puts on, like, you put the logo, it's like imagine yourself getting an award and it's that logo, and just, and then when you open your eyes, just do that for a few minutes, and you open your eyes and you look at that logo. It's like you have it right there in front of you, you look at that logo, and that's it. And then you just, few seconds you look at the logo, maybe a minute you look at the logo, and it's just you're kind of like in this trance state, and then what you do is you put that in different places around the house. That's it. And it's a logo. It's just in little places, maybe like when you're driving, you have it like on somewhere in the side where you sometimes see it, it just kind of catches the eye. That's all. Because it's always, your subconscious mind is usually 95% of the day. The subconscious mind, where you actually had that visualization act, that's where it lives at. And when you have it, when you have sigils and signs from that, because that sign, the sigil basically becomes that sigil that you made after that visualization act basically becomes the energy of that whole dream or that whole imagination into one simple energy. All of that becomes one energy, and then basically you put that in your dunya, which is the illusion. You scatter that image everywhere, just enough places where you see it every day, but it's not like it's some huge thing. It's just, you gotta put it in the corner when you walk in the mirror, when you wake up in the morning, or maybe if it's a cool logo, you can put it on your phone. You can put it on your phone. In fact, even make it and put it on your phone, and then you see it like once in a while, and it's a really powerful act. It's neurolinguistic programming. It is whatever you want to call it. It's energy work. It is whatever. It can get really deep too. It can get deep in terms of, now you have like our own Islamic systems, or there's like breathing different names of Allah and different tones, and that gets really like, that's when it's like, Muslims, I think, get freaked out because they equate that with like some kind of like black magic and all this negative stuff, but it's actually not true at all. The thing is, the nafs, or the ego, doesn't want, it's very uncomfortable to learn new things. It's uncomfortable to admit to itself that it is wrong. It is very uncomfortable for it to try new things. And growth cannot happen in your comfort zone. If you're a small company, I've seen this so many times with people, and now I work for a company now that has the opportunity to explode, hugely in a big way, and now what I do for them is I incorporate like what I know in this metaphysical concepts, and because this is a job that basically, it's not even a job, it's basically something that fell into my lap, how it happened, and now they want me, and then it's like all of a sudden all these things happened, and I got, all the gadgets, and I work from home. I can be in the park. I'm in the park half the day, anyways. And now I have opportunity to train other people, and now I all the stuff that I was doing, all the dua and the ritual work and the different exercises and meditation and all that. That's why you do all those things, because you plant those seeds. You have to get to a certain frequency. You plant those seeds, and you just stay in that state of being where you're not worried about what's going on. It's not that you don't care. It's just it doesn't affect you. It's like you have a force field around you, and everything will work out because you understand this is the dunya. This is an illusion, and this is how it works. You understand that the divine can flow through you, as in it's closer to you than your jugular vein. I mean, it's like the jugular vein. What does that mean? I mean, what the hell does that mean? Okay, then don't you understand you can access that? Allah is just a conglomeration. It's the whole, it's like, it's all of the names. It's the greatest name of Allah, as in like Allah. It's like it is all of those. It's like the total breath means names are just how the breath comes out. And this is the total breath itself. And then, all of it isn't enclosed isn't everything is enclosed in Allah. All those breaths, all those names, all those different ways to breathe, all those frequencies of breath, everything. Infinity is inside of Allah. If infinity in everything is inside of Allah, then what is outside of Allah? There's nothing outside of Allah, because everything is inside. So we are inside Allah. It's like, but the concept has gotten so misunderstood and misused and mistold that even to go to this route of trying to understand the really tough concepts of everything, people can go crazy. I can totally, I totally understand. People can get lost, and it's hard to come back to even their own reality that they supposedly, manifested, or they supposedly were thinking that it was secure, because security doesn't come from your actions. Security doesn't come from the government. It comes from Allah. It literally comes from Allah, right? Everything comes from Allah. So then the concept of Allah, how the concept of Allah comes through you, in your understanding of what the dunya is, that's how that's how the dunya is gonna reflect you back to you. And even with the thing with money, my gosh, like money is gonna, like this. You think these pennies are gonna be around for another 5 years even? These pennies, like nobody does cash anymore, and it's all like becoming electronic. And there's so many options to pay, so many cash apps. Everything is like, now even the new checks that are going to be coming in, they're going to be coming in as credit cards, or debit cards, and everything is going to be electronic. That's the whole thing. That is one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, where the numbers, and it's like, it's going to be all, there's going to be no money, trade, it's just going to be a bunch of numbers. And that's why it's like, that's not fine. If that's happening, then why not take advantage of that? Why not take advantage of those things happening, and basically benefit also. It's not evil. It's not evil. Invest some, divert money from industries that are dying, or whatever you have, and divert that money into, maybe learn about Bitcoin, learn about some industry that it's not a brick and mortar thing, you know? Learn something else. Or if you don't know it, if you have the knowledge, but recognize somebody else's knowledge, recognize someone else that knows certain industries and knows certain perspectives of how to even capture a certain industry, you know? Because things are different now, and there's a totally different economy. Man, this, and I'm telling you right now, like, it's not, some people are like, oh, what is, like, wouldn't, I believe, like, the ultimate, like, I said to myself, I've worked for people before, you know, and I said to myself, if I'm going to work for somebody else other than myself, there's certain conditions that it has to match, you know, and basically when I just let it up to the divine, as in, like, you know what, I know that whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna be good, because it's gonna be from my ego letting go of what it thinks is gonna happen and letting something else higher let that happen. And in the meantime, keep on with the good eating habits. Keep on with, you know, doing your meditation. Keep on with doing your spiritual acts and rituals throughout the day. Do it while keep on feeding your passions. Keep on feeding your mind, your body, you know, and have fun in that process of feeding your mind and, you know, becoming a new person and kind of like learning new things, you know, like I learned sacred geometry and things like, it's called different energy healing practices, where you let the energy go through different parts of your body, through your muscles. Wow, that's like a breathing exercise, and you know, the body has something like 850 muscles, and most people only use one third. That's it. Even like athletic people, even people that something like 90% of people, one third of their muscle, or lower, or you know, that's it on average. And when you start stretching different muscles, you release tension. You know, you release the buildup of acids and different knots. You know, and in conjunction with the muscles of the physical muscles, you work on the mind muscles. You work on building its thought. You know, learning new patterns, learning different. That's why learning the occult is awesome, because you learn symbols. See, it's like learning a new language. You learn, like, what is a triangle and what is a octagon and what energy is a hexagon. Why is this angel this energy, and why is this demon this energy, and what does it represent, and what are the different energies that this thing gives, you know, out when you invoke it, you know, because you can invoke Allah, right, the 99 names, but you can get very specific into your invocation of exact, like, if Allah is all energy, so it's like, I'm saying, like, fine-tuning that energy, fine-tuning it, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can do that by understanding what energy is and how to conceptualize it and how to become the vessel. And the thing is, the way to get that energy is by doing that thing that you have a desire to do, doing it despite having a fear of what people will think. You know, what are people going to think if you lose too much weight? You know, because maybe you lost weight before and they said, oh, you know what, you're getting too skinny, and then now it's like, you know what, you want to get to that level, but now it's like you don't fear what they will say because they said it before and you survived it, but it's like, you know what, I don't care what they say anymore. Like me, I'm growing my hair out and I don't care how bad it looks. I don't care how good it looks. I just know it just will look, it'll look how it's going to look, and that's it. And when it looks how it's going to look, then it's going to look good because it is what it is, right? And if you just live with yourself and live with your ultimate highest vision of yourself, then you just become a more pleasant person. And you attract things to yourself because as you expand your mind, you expand your reality. And because of this unique position I have, I go to the park a lot. I go to the park a lot, and I notice some people, in their cars and things like that, and I sometimes I just talk to them, and I saw this one person that I recognized from the gym, and basically long story short, this guy, he's like a fighter and this and that, and UFC, and now it's like he's like living in his car, and he goes from like park to park, but it's like, but he gets money coming in. For example, like, let's just say he has, like, from his different things, maybe he's $600, $800, $900, a month coming in, right? But if you live in your car, then, and it's how much is it costing you? It's not too much. If you can learn, but see, the thing is, like, you can still succeed. I know that sounds crazy, right? But it's like, look, imagine you're living in your car, right? You can be like, oh shit, I'm living in my car, and I'll tell you how this, because I saw this guy drinking in his car, and I'm like, damn, he's letting himself go because he was freaking ripped before, and now it's like, and I talked to him, and I got it out of him, and it's like he said he was basically living out of his car. He was drinking like a 40-ounce Corona, in Corona, and I wasn't judging him. I'm like, oh my God, you're an evil person drinking, no, I don't. I'm not judging. It's like, dude, that's cool, I'm not judging at all. And he understood that, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, I remember I see you. I can't. You can't hear you? Can you hear me? So, okay, this guy, he, found these cards. These are old school, from the 70s. You can hear me now? Okay, anyways, what was I saying? Shit. I don't know what I was saying. As you expand your mind, you expand your body, you expand, your reality expands. So I met him, this guy, and he was getting really out of shape. And I'm like telling him, like, okay, why not, basically people, what they, I explained to him how instead of going the route of making it seem like it's a punishment that you're living like this, like, okay, he can go to a shower, you can go to the shower at a shelter, you know, all these things, it's there, it's available, right? And it's about like your ego, but it's like, say you do it, right? Say you do all these things and it's free, and you make like $800 a month, and you're saving all that money, right? But in the meantime, you're doing your push-ups, you're eating like you're getting you get your benefits, you know, and you eat, and you basically what you do is you become better, you know, you become excellent, you start eating better, your energy starts rising, and then you start posting more, you know, he should start posting more and into his social media and start being recognized as, hey, this guy's in shape again, you know, I'll use him as a coach and he can be in that shape again. He starts getting more money, you know, and it's like it just starts building. He doesn't have to tell people anything about that situation. What I'm saying is that's how energy grows, because the more he grows his energy, instead of it being depressed and drinking and like, oh, being a victim, you take your energy and you build your energy in terms of your whole mindset. So you're doing your, you know, imagine you do that for a month, right? And you do it like every day, all the time, and you're eating good. You're not eating junk food, and that money you're saving it. It's like, but you're eating. You're not like you're eating cheap too, but you're eating cheap as in like you're eating more of things that will benefit you, because you're eating it in a different mindset also. You know, you're eating like you don't have it's not, it doesn't have to be expensive to eat healthy. You know, you can, if you can survive on rice, you know, like brown rice, and like you can get those things made, or you can have, you know, somehow you can. Now being in the car, this person, he, what I would do is if I was in his situation, and food and building my body was part of my image of like selling, because if this person's a fighter, right, and he has to be in good shape. In that case, I would be eating fish, like like mackerel in a can, and beans, and like eggs, and like getting like a water boiler, you know, like buying one for $10, you know, and buying one, and getting it with a lighter, you know, or getting a burner, you know, having like a camp type thing, you know, like literally living. If you're living out of your car, then you better be prepared like a camp, like a camping, you know, like that's what I would do, because if you can survive that, as in like you can, in that state of life, become actually better in your energy, like in his case, his body, and shadow boxing and all that stuff, instead of just sitting there drinking. You get what I'm saying? And just waiting for a phone call to come, you know, or just doing something, you know, just fucking nothing. You know what I mean? And then if you're like that, you become more valuable. People want to use you. People want, like, hey, you know what? I want to hire you for $10. You know, for $15 an hour. Will you do these things? You know, it's like, yeah, it's like, but you become, you know, because there's people out there making a lot of money in different delivery services and different kinds of like Grubhub and all these kind of things, and you know, and there's a lot of opportunity in that kind of sector, and there's a lot of, but to even go to that world, it's better to know, you know, your stuff. Like, it's better to know it as a passion, you know. It's better to, because if you know it as a passion, because other people are just doing it because of opportunity or whatnot. If you know it as a passion, you know it, like, you become, like, you have more vision in that kind of whatever that you like doing, because from your own mind and where you have been and what has happened to your life and what you've been through and all these kind of things, use that for your advantage into your own imagination, because the deeper the dark, the deeper the canyons, the higher the peaks. You know what I mean? Like the deeper the oceans, it's like the higher the. It's like it's crazy in the ocean, like the ocean, the depths of the ocean, is uncharted. Like it's crazy. Like we don't know as humans living on Earth, we don't know the ocean. It's basically unfreaking charted. We think we know the ocean. No, it's only like 3% or so. Like some ridiculous small amount of the ocean has been charted, and it's so crazy to think of that, the vastness of the ocean, and the ocean is like the concept that we've been given in our religious sense of, if you take your finger and you dip it in the ocean water, that it's not even like, and it's like ink, and that becomes ink, and you write the bounties of Allah or write the names of Allah, then it can't, like the ocean the ocean will never, I don't know, like it'll never it's infinity, so the bounties, the energies of Allah is infinity. Just like you can't, like, but the thing is about the ocean water, like if you dip your finger in the ocean and it's like that drop of that ocean is in that drop also, And so we look at the universe and how big the universe is and how small Earth is and how small you are, and then the galaxies, and it's like, wow, you're freaking nothing, It's like, even if I imagine, like literally right now my head hurt, I imagine like the Earth and it's like expanding out, and it's like, oh my god, I feel so small, it's like, oh shit, like I'm like going past Saturn. I'm past Neptune and Pluto and holy, I see like the whole like Milky Way, and then it's like it makes you feel small, But all that is inside me, because now I open my eyes and it's like I'm looking at my reflection in this contraption, and all that was inside in between my eyes, in my brain, inside. Where the hell is that? And that's how come you didn't see it? It's crazy. It's infinity. Allah is infinity. So these are concepts that you can use in your own life, and kind of like magically attune your life, kind of direct it with with invoking these energies, doing this kind of work. You look at a candle and things like that. I mean, is that weird to look at a candle? Why is that freaking magic? Why is that considered witchcraft to look in a freaking mirror with a candle in front of you? Why? Why have we been told that you can't do that? That's freaking ridiculous. Like, why can't I take a mirror and look in the back of the mirror and have a candle in the back and kind of just talk to myself? Who says I can't do that? There's actual systems. It's like ritualistic systems where you can talk to you can kind of like in your mind talk to your entity. See your entities, see the jinns around you, see the freaking the chips, the things you hold that you allow to attach to yourself. And it's very scary because of fear, because of not wanting to get hurt, because of not wanting to hurt somebody else. We conform. We stop being ourselves. I mean, that's with me at least, because I stopped being myself, and as I stopped being myself, I suffered more and more. And the more I started to become myself, as in the higher self, and living through the higher self, not the lower self, the more I started to do that, the more things started to synchronize. And the more they synchronize, the more my hunger for understanding these sciences grew and grew and grew. And you understand that it's not limited to one, Sunni way of understanding. It's in the Shia system. It's in the Sufi systems. It's in these different, broken up sectors of Islam as a whole. Of what the Muslim was, of what the Prophet was actually, as a whole. Because he was mystical. He was mystical. Okay, we think mystical is like a bad word. Mystical is a very good word. To be more, look up the word. Look up what does mystical mean? Let's look it up. Okay, I'm going to look it up. Okay, jeez. Okay, you know what? Someone can look it up for me. I have many phones here, but okay, let me get my phone. Okay. We can look up words right now, because words are vibrations and frequencies. Words mean something. Words are the word of Allah. Words, things exist into words. Your name is a word, right? Define, D-E-F-I-N, define mystic. Okay, mystic. The person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption. I can't even see this. Unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the material. I believe that's what my screen locked out. Okay, I'm going to read it again. A person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity within or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. Okay, the intellect, like I said, the intellect is something that is part of the matrix of the mind. Okay, the intellect is that thing that exists through the five senses, through the five sense reality, through the nervous system. Okay, that's the intellect. And look weird. So that is the intellect. Okay. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, I'm gonna probably get going. But I'm gonna get going early now, and definitely, look at life as for you. Everything's created for you. For you to understand Allah at a higher vibration, and doing so, you invoke that higher vibration, that higher energy, those seeds, those creation notes into your reality, like literally blows. That's why you do this blowing things. It's like, in a way, that's true, but there's other ways you can do things. It's not just that. It's like there's things that are like okay, you can take that concept and you can make it into like, okay, wow, that's like crazy. Like, you know, like every time you drink water, you can, every time you can even draw things on your dollar bill, you know, and let it become your energy going out, and it attracts more, and it it's like literally everything is oneness, right? Everything is like these, what do you call them, like certain ties. So it's like, imagine that energy going to a bank and then being stored in a vault with other bills, and now it's like that energy is attracted to you, and it's like, it's literally, it's like creating this like energy. Like, it sounds crazy, right? But this is in a higher dimension. And then once it gets big enough, and then you have ways of your energy going out and coming back, in terms of, um, you know, if I wasn't talking about these things, and if I wasn't doing my meditations and my spiritual work, then this opportunity that happened, it would never have come along. Not that they were at that level when they, it's like, it's not, it's that I became it. They somehow, we were attracted to each other. We became at the same level of what that company was. You know, what the energy of that company was, that entity, that corporation. It attracted me. You know, I created it as a thought form, and that energy came back, and we now we exchange energy. See, now I give it my energy, as in terms of its corporate compliance and things like that, and its database, and you know, things that I love. Like, it's, but it's in a way that it's like, it's so simple. You know, I don't have to be a, I'm not an engineer, or I'm not a analyst, or any kind of degree in any kind of business school, and I'm doing these kind of things, and it's awesome, you know, and it's making a big difference. And the thing is, if I don't know something, I can look it up. I can. It's like, it's all about the energy, you know, and the more energy you give, and just things align, you know, things happen, and it's not up to the logical mind to uh, logicify everything, make everything, try to, it just allow it, and just be grateful, as in like, wow, this is really awesome how it's happening. And in that sense, you live in the state of worship all the time, because then you eat thinking in that higher state of the divine flowing through you, and energy, you know, and you eat in that state. You even consume energy at that state. So even the stuff you watch, it's like, okay, why are you watching? You want to do it for shadow work. You want to do it for, okay, you want to see how you want to, like, I have, for example, I have a certain ego, right? I have a certain image. I look a certain way, and it's like, you know, I want to see what's out there. What is popular? What's a good look I want to copy? Okay, I see that actor. I somehow, like, I'm always like, okay, this actor is the only person that this, what do you call it? All these shows are kind of putting up, and it's catching my eye, and it's like, okay, fine, that's a good style. Okay, fine, I like that style. Okay, it's like, yeah, I like that style, and then I'm gonna do that style. I'm gonna kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna. That is like a higher image of myself, my self projecting it out into the dunya, and me catching it, and now seeing an image in the physical to kind of, okay, go towards, you know, not copy, but I'm saying is like, have a concept, like, okay, you know what, that, like, then you find out that person, you know, runs 3 miles a day, you know, then it's like, okay, I don't like running. Is there any way I can be that physical shape without running? You know, and then you do all these, then it's like, and then things happen to you where these other methods appear to you, like Tai Chi and all these other things, like now it's like I can have this crazy workout with like 10 pounds on each hand, and that's it. And I'm freaking, it's like out of the world, out of this, not out of the world, out of this world. And it's just a really crazy, simple freaking workout. And you see all these people doing all this crazy shit, all you need is these two things. That's it. I'm going to end with this. So I did the research in the golden era of weightlifting. It's called the bronze. I think it's called the golden era of weightlifting, and it was like the 1800s, like 18 something, 18 like 70s, all right. And I think that's towards the end of the world civil war in America. So imagine this is like in England, London, okay, in Europe. This guy named Sandow, he was this bodybuilder, and all he did was his weights. He was like this strong man, and he was like freaking awesome shape. Like as a man, like me looking at him, it's like that's freaking crazy in shape. It's like not nasty, where it's like huge. It's like very natural, and all his workout was, it's 5 pounds, 5 pound dumbbells on each hand, and all he did was like 50. He would do like 50. He would do like, I think like 10 different exercises, like 50 times every day. That's it. Like he did squats, and all he used was 5 pounds. And the way he ate was, he ate like basically like from the 1800s, like potatoes and meat, but he did a lot of vegetables because he was healthy also. So if you see his physique, it's really natural, and it's like, wow. And so I did that for a long time, and I saw a huge change. And obviously after the quarantine, I haven't been doing it. And then I realized that maybe a couple days ago, and I said to myself, you know what? It's the first week of Ramadan, and now I recognize that in my life, where it's time for me to turn up that heating, because by the end of the Ramadan, it has to be at a boiling point. I don't want it to boil now, because certain enzymes have to cook. Certain steps have to be made, and certain formations have to be frozen tight. Okay, this is how it works. There's certain thoughts that you have in your mind. You have to feed it, and you have to feed it at certain levels. The logical mind, you have to go and enough where you just bust through the logical mind. You're not trapped in that labyrinth of its thought of you. Oh, you can't do this, or oh, this guy's crazy, or oh, no, you're doing fine, or no, it's not possible. We're just slaves, and that's it, or it's very dangerous, or you have to return back to Allah. It's like, I was being told at one point, like, I can't be talking about this kind of stuff, and I was kind of scared to talk about it because I didn't want some people to judge me. And then I started to understand that no, I'm not gonna stop, because it's energy that has to be. It's my energy that has to be expressed out in a form of a story, in a form of a kind of way that I can show you that it works, because it's worked for me. And I'm like how you were, because I've hung out with many of you people, and you know me, and you know how I was before, and you knew that you knew, and we knew each other because we knew each other in different times, different eras in different parts of the world. And then to see me now, and talking about this kind of stuff. It's kind of like a radical. But the thing is, if you are somewhat awakened into even these thoughts about like what's going on, and then you're led to like, oh, this spiritual awakening and meditation and all this kind of stuff, and then you can go down a very, very crazy path where it'll take you to the light workers, and then now all of a sudden you're it's about love and light and yoga, which those things are fine, but it's like the way it's being told to the masses. And then even in spiritual, even in our communities, we have these certain systems where it's like it's being fed to you, but it's being fed to you by one person's concept, but in a way where it's like I don't know. It's like you can see now the fakeness. You can see what is authentic, and you can see what is fake. That's what I'm saying. The vibration is different, where you can tell when you're dealing with a company that is just trying to sell to you, and you can tell when you are dealing with a company that is really loves the industry, loves the product, loves the aspect of what it is, and loves the aspect of like what it can be, and all these different aspects, like everything, the money, everything, even the money part. Yeah, love the money. You like, yeah, fine. You love making, $3,000 a day. Now let's do that. Let's make seven. Why can't we make $7,000 a day? And okay, this is why. This is what. Why not you take that three? It's all ways to take that energy and make ways that are, you go in there and you see how it can be fixed, how it can be not fixed like something's wrong with it, how it can be fine-tuned, how it can be enhanced, and that's what you have to do with your life too, and your vision, and your own actions, and how you eat, and how you how you spend your downtime, how do you entertain yourself. That's important too. Entertainment is very important, yes, and it's good to be entertained, but do entertain where it teaches you too. Now, it shouldn't be entertainment for just entertainment's sake, but that becomes like a pacifier, Now it should be, if you learn the occult, basically, like, then you could start to have, because I used to love watching like X-Men and all those kind of movies, these fantasy movies and things like that. I loved it. Why not? Fine. I was, I liked those crazy movies, like all kinds of movies. I liked them, right? And then what happened? Oh, then when I saw like how they were made, in Hollywood, and I met some of these people, that I looked up to. Then I realized, like, wow, it's very different, And then it broke my image of what movies were. But then when I started watching movies again, then I saw like the other end of it. I saw understood like some actors, they become the character. What the hell does that mean? They literally get possessed, like fucking possessed by the character itself. Like they start talking, like they get fucking crazy. That's why they can't, a lot of these actors, they get possessed by characters so much. Like, who was possessed? Oh my god. He was literally, he was possessed by the energy of Howard. Ron Howard? Not Ron, what's his name? The guy that, L. Ron Hubbard, L. Ron Hubbard, uh, the guy that played him as a actor, he's a white guy. He basically he overdosed, right? He overdosed. Basically, he was possessed by that character, and his he couldn't handle it. Like him as a like it was like he crossed a line of like literal possession of like more intense energies because L. Ron Hubbard he created Scientology, you know, and L. Ron Hubbard was an occultist. He 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 basically became a person that like you can do his stuff that he did and channel energy, and this is what he did. He channeled his character. So he became engulfed in what L. Ron Hubbard spoke like, what he liked. He did research upon him, you know. He did it so much. He even looked like him. He talked like him. He started to even like he became possessed by him. It's not like, okay, acting hours are 9 to 5, and then he just, no, he was L. Ron Hubbard. He was living in that lifestyle, like, and he did it so accurately that he was literally possessed by him, and he couldn't, psychologically, he couldn't take that out, and he overdosed, you know, and he overdosed, like, and he died, and, you know, he was, maybe it was, you know, that's what we were told, right, but maybe it could be, he was, you know, they were doing exorcism, and he died, or something like that. I mean, you don't understand, this is how reality is, but you've been told what you've been told on TV, you know, people do rituals. I'm not saying there's literally there's exorcisms going on, you know. I mean, I know most Muslims and most Christians, they don't believe in this kind of stuff in this modern age, but you have to understand that this is how things happen. People that reach an understanding, they can become vessels for different energies to flow through, and different societies, different organizations want that energy, you know, and they're willing to pay you X amount of money for that energy, but because they control all these energies, they can manipulate the mass energy. They can dictate the masses of people because, you know, of all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's mind control. It's kind of like a spell being played on you, you know. And what is the spell? The spell is you to just fall asleep, you know, and kind of like float through dunya, you know, not really living but not dead, and just kind of fearing, and just kind of, you know, just going by, you know, and just thinking you're doing fine, and you'll do better in the future, or, you know, this kind of lifestyle. That is not like, that's what the job tricks you as, because then what you're attached to is attached to a physical illusion. You're attached to a, you know, you're attached to a better job. You're attached to the image of like making more money or something like that, something physical. You know, you're not attached to, if you're attached to the image of yourself in Jannah now, no matter what your circumstances are, and you're attached to that image, and you start to like, you want to be that image, and then you start to behave like that in the now, you know, through practice, and you start to become like more of the reflection, you know, then it's like you start attracting that dimension in your physical, you know, and there's companies that want that energy. I mean, this is how things work. Logos, you know, it's all true. It's like, you know, it's symbols, and it's, everything is so crazy, you know. It's like, not crazy, but it's like, it's awesome, you know, understanding this concept and the Fibonacci sequence and the sequence of patterns, and what's a cube, and all these different formations, and wow, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, I can even talk about the carbon, like, we're carbon-based life forms, right? And carbon is the carbon is a structure that other molecules and other elements stick to. Okay, so carbon is 6, right? It has atomic weight of 6. It is a crystalline formation. And get this, it's a hexagonal crystalline formation. So it's like a crystal hexagon shaped thing. I mean, you can't see it, but can you see carbon? Like, no, you can't see it. And you take a carbon and you go deeper in carbon, then it's like atoms. You can't, and there's more atoms. It's all space. It's all like, it's mind-boggling, right? It's like, it's vibration and frequency. That's all it is. It's just different magnetisms and different ways the electrons, negative and positive, are spinning, and it forms a magnetized, I don't know, magnetism. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need to know it that deep, that gets too crazy for me. I get caught in that, it's like a very detail oriented world. I don't want to do that. I don't need that. And so what happens is, the carbon, right? There's what, in the periodic table, there are 118 elements, and only 112 of them, they are elements found throughout the dunya and throughout the universe, in space, and it makes up everything. Everything there is made up with these 112 elements and these 6 noble gases, like like helium and neon and I don't know, other lights. I don't know. Okay, I didn't do too well in chemistry, but I know this. And the crazy thing is, everything is made up of these elements. So all life, it's made up of these elements in some form of fashion, attached on different ways. And carbon is like that base canvas, I guess you can call it, And the carbon is the canvas. Then where does the other stuff come from? Where does the other paint come from? It comes from the canvas, and it's like a loop, It's like, where the hell? Holy shit! Where does it come from? So that's that's like one of the points of Ramadan, is to really have this experience and to be awoken to the world, and just kind of be like, wow, okay, these things are happening. It's supposed to scare me, It's supposed to scare you into fear, into doing what you're told by the masses. Okay, it's supposed to scare you into just, hiding and kind of like, but what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to make you better, It's supposed to make you define more like healed even, It should have. Because if you, there's still a chance. Obviously, it's never too late. But I'm saying there's a different wave of energy going on. You have to capitalize on it. It's like you're in like a video game, and you're in that zone where you can collect all these points, and to collect these points, it's fun, and it's not like, it's like, wow, okay, yeah, this is fun, yeah, I like this now, yeah, and you're getting these points, and it's like in Mario Brothers, where like, you can go in this like zone where you can collect all these points, and it's like you don't have to, you're not time restrained, and you're like floating, and I don't know, it's that cool part of the game, and they do that on purpose for the game. It's to make it So you release the tension of always losing and not getting past this next level. And then when you start winning, right, in that thing, and then you go to the boss of that level, you get in a different state of mind, and you can beat that boss. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, thank you for listening, and utilize this time and this energy, and just do not fear. Doesn't mean you give up. That's not about giving up. It's about, I'm saying, is don't fear being laughed at. Don't fear uh, being awake till 4 in the morning and waking up at 8 o'clock and having only 4 hours of sleep. Don't fear that. Don't fear, not opening dinner with your family because, you're supposed to. Be prepared for it. Have the food in your car, like have it ready. If you want to make it, like if you can't come to until like 9 o'clock, still have your food ready and explain to your family if that's the case. But the thing is, if you're doing your thing and you're manifesting that reality, you're doing what it takes. And this is the time when everyone else is, it's like you become a light. And then once the economy comes back to a life or whatever happens in the future, as people start needing that service that you set the foundation to. It's in anything, because now people know that they rather have things online, or there's people that you can consult with them to make their store online. You can say, what, I will. They have a successful brick and mortar store, but now like, hey, what, you put an online store, not just any shitty online store. I'm saying is like you have one store, but then you drive your product through different means of like the internet, and all kinds of marketing tactics, and even one item to draw them into the whole store. Just all kinds of ways. And as a somebody like me, for example, I've done that before, and I've given people ideas of like these kinds of ideas, and in my life, only one person has utilized these things. And I kid you not, this girl utilized this program I told her about. I'm like, look, this is what I told her. I told her all these things. And guess what? She paid me money for it. She paid me $1,800. She paid me $1,800 for me to give her a certain system, okay? But people are like, oh, that you should give it to her for free and this and that. It's like, oh, if it's spiritual, it's like, no, it's literally an exchange of energy. There's some laws. You might know of law of attraction, but there's a law of manifestation, there's a law of vibration, there's a law of polarity, there's a law of all these other laws. There's laws of abundance, there's laws of rhythm, there's laws, the law of equivalent exchange. This is what I'm talking about, equivalent exchange of energy. Okay, so what that does is the nafs, the ego, her ego would be like, no, you know what? I don't want to do this, or it'll say like, no, you know better. He's stupid, or But if you let go of that ego attachment of money, and you put it into, it's yourself. You're putting into an investment of yourself to understand concepts. It's like it breaks the ego's attachment, and the ego is like it. You can. And also, what it does is for the student-teacher relationship, it takes my ego out of it. As in, like, you know what? I'm not doing it for free, because then there'd be something out of it. Like, why am I doing it for free? It's like I want something in return. You know, it's like there's a lot of hidden agendas, psychological things happen when people do it for these, like at this level, at this for this reason, you know, to manipulate and things like that. You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, look, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I told her. In the end, I gave her the system. I told her all these things, and she made, in 18 months, she made like one point. No, she made like 15,000 sales of her system. I mean, it was really nice. I mean, it was all her. I just told her about the concept, and I explained to her like how to manifest it, how to understand it, visualize it, how to do those practices, and how to understand these concepts, like step by step, like a mentorship type of thing, you know. And after that incident, because it was my first time I ever did this, and she was like my first, and she became so big that like she totally transformed, and she became out of my league. Like wow, like she made like $2.5 million off this program online as a mentorship type thing. You know, it's like really awesome, and she sold it for like $55, and she sold like something like 16,000 of them in like within a span of 18 months. And after that point, she became really, she got a team, you know, like how she paid for me to tell her this stuff. And it was like whatever, you know, like I didn't know what I was doing, and because I didn't have like PDFs, and I didn't have like all these setups as I do now. I didn't have those things, and I didn't have a example of my own to kind of show her, and I didn't have those things yet. When she got all that money, when she made all that money by utilizing her own creativity and her own story, which was very authentic, of her own self losing weight and all these kind of things, and she was like beautiful, and like it was just awesome, you know. It was like it was she manifested me to tell her at that level, but she got huge where I was still at this level, you know, and she was getting big. Now she's in Australia, and like has like her she's on like talk shows. Before this happened, you know, she was on talk shows, and I was like, wow, I'm really proud of her. It's like, wow, I freaking, she's like getting awarded in these like social media things and jet set and this and that, and I'm like, wow, you know. And at first I was kind of like, I was like, oh, how come I don't have that? How come I don't have that? Oh, but then I realized, wow, she really actually went beyond her fear of like the same fear I was at. You know, she became like she. That's what it's supposed to do. I was holding on to like, how come I'm not doing? Because the reason why I wasn't doing it, because I wasn't living. This is like 4 years ago. I wasn't. I was just talking it, but I wasn't living it. I was because I logically conceptualized all these concepts, but I didn't do the thing in my life. I was still living under the limited mindset. I was still living under programs that were set at a very deep, super conscious level, and things I had to break through doing shadow work, through doing these different spiritual exercises that kind of take your logical mind and you kind of meet it at the unseen, that dream mind, that lucid mind state. And at that state, you kind of implant certain programs in there based on harnessing your own energy and kind of naming it, and kind of like having like a name attached to it. That, and when you invoke that name, it attacks like your laziness, or attacks your negative thoughts, and it's like an army for you. You know, it's like, why can't you think like this? This is how it makes this reality a lot more easy to maintain, easy to prune, easy to shape through energy, through the mind, through the different perceptions, through this is how the matrix is, because it's happening in your mind. It's through your eye. Like, I can't live your reality. Like, everybody on the face of the earth has had a different reality, no matter what. And no one's is better than the others. It's just in your eyes. That's it. It's literally in your eyes. And if your eyes have been shaped, your mindset, your intellect has been shaped into to fit a certain formation, and that formation can no longer hold itself, and now that it's like it's trying to contain it, and then there's friction. This is what I'm talking about. This is how do you let go of that formation, but also not be in the chaos of the infinity. It's by becoming aware of what you are, by being aware of where you are, by being aware of the correspondences of energy, by being aware of how the word and frequencies work, and why you do this at this time, and why do you pray at this time, why is east here, why is east there, what does it represent? Everything represents something. There's 5 points on a star, 1, 2, 3, 5, and it's like, what does it mean, and why is a human, why does it kind of look like a person, right? And then it's like, it's all kinds of, like, there's ether, and then the fire, and then earth, and then water, and the different elements, and each element has different characteristics, and one it basically, they each, there's not one that's better than the other. They all exist together in one formation as a star, and what puts that consciousness in the star is the spirit up here, and the energy is literally the spirit. It comes inside the formation, which is, it's not the dunya that's driving it. It's not you. It's been the divine the whole time. But it's the separation once you start to identify with how you've been shaped, and you adhere to the shape, and you cannot, in changing times of the world, you are still holding on to the shape while the earth, everything is expanding, and you're trying to, like, you're being tossed around in this space. And because if you open your eyes, if you let go, you'll start cracking up, and then it's painful to kind of be in that state of what's going to happen to me, and worrying. And it's that state itself that takes you there. It's almost like you have to be okay with it. You have to be, if you want what you want bad enough, are you willing to, that guy sleeping in your car? You're willing to sleep in your car? Yeah, fine, you're willing to sleep in your car. Then when you are sleeping in your car, what kind of level are you going to live at? Because like I said, I told him, you can get in shape in a month like nothing else. Since you're not doing anything anyways, and you have $1,000 coming in, or $800 coming in, and you don't need nothing but $500 a month to eat, that's really eating good. And then, then in that sense, like, once a week, you get a hotel room, and then you freshen up and all that stuff, and whatever, I don't know, $30, $50 for a hotel room, I'm sure you can get Airbnb or something like that. Like say $20, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know how it works anymore, but there has to be some kind of place where he takes a shower. I would assume because of the health. If they really care about health, they're gonna have these kind of facilities for homeless people. To be hygienically clean. Um, but so it's that. Are you willing to learn that and do that, and to be clean? And just when you go to that and you see other people, they're like, wow, I thought I had it bad. These people don't even have cars. They don't have family. They don't have, you know, they don't have any kind of like, they don't have phones. They don't have anything. And then I'm complaining about myself, and they're happier than me, or it's like they're not like, they kind of like are doing their thing homelessnessly. It's like they're adjusted. It's like, oh, I don't ever want to get like that. It's like I never want to get like that. But it's like, what gets you like that? It's actually, it's like you don't know what these people, it's like you can't live their life. You can't, but you can see like, well, you know what? If it makes them happy, and it makes them happy being like that, then hey, whatever. It's not my thing. It's like, yeah, if you want to give them some money for food, it's up to you. If you think, oh, they're gonna drink it up, then whatever. It doesn't matter what you think. It's like if you give them your money or beckon to give them your money or some food, they attracted that in their reality because they attracted it, willingly or not willingly. It's like in their reality, for them to get money, somebody like you has to exist. And then, but it's like, are you thinking of it as like, oh, it's like, um, or you can look at it as like, wow, you can see it how it's polarity. It's like you can attract that, or you can attract like, or you can see it in your reality, and you can see what it is, the truth of it, and then that way it becomes an ally actually, because it becomes a reflection for you to kind of see and implement, like this guy doesn't really care. He doesn't care about shame or anything like that, your concept of shame. Then why should I care about having shame by talking about this, for example? Or why should you care of having shame about someone laughing at your proposal? Like you, if you really have that, a proposal, and you put it in a plan, you put it in a way, and you're just scared to show it, you can show it. You show it to, it's like, no, it's like, oh, I'll show it to the boss. Yeah, just give it to me and I'll show it to them. No, I want to show it, and I want to propose it, and I want to propose this plan. I want it to, oh, we don't have a way to do that. I mean, it's like, no, I want 5 minutes and of this time when you guys talk about, just, oh, how, like, personal things anyways. It's like, I'm saying is like something that can possibly, make money, or some way that capitalizes on something that we can leverage, all these kind of things. When you are in this kind of state of mind, you get ideas like this, and no matter what company you're with, what industry, this is what I'm saying, you have access to higher thought, higher dimensions, higher thought forms, like higher thought form entities that you can hire, you can even detailed ways to call upon Allah, on certain attributes of Allah, because everything is from Allah, certain attributes. You might need the attribute of glamour, glamour, like, yeah, like looking a certain way, like, hey, you know what, I want to look a certain way, I want to perceive a certain perception to other people when they see me, to be in a certain glamour state, You know, it's like that means that's my ego. You know, it's like yeah, I comb my hair. You know, yes, I brush my teeth. You know, because I want to look. I'm not like wearing dirty clothing. You know, because I'm in a state of frequency. It's a glamour state. It is a mask. Everyone has a mask. And the thing is, the one thing I value now is like it's not just in front of people when I'm talking because, as you can see, I'm not, you know, in some kind of studio or something like that. I don't, you know, it's like I have the same things you have. In fact, maybe my phone is a lot older. You know, this is like freaking iPhone 6, and people have state of the art phones, and they said that to themselves, like, yeah, you know what, when I get this phone, that's when I'm gonna do this thing, or that's when I'm gonna learn cryptocurrency, or that's when I'm gonna have my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna go on YouTube Live and talk when I have a better camera and a better microphone and a better low light, and maybe you got a more expensive phone, you upgraded from having a better phone anyways to like another phone, saying that this is what you need, and you do it once, and you don't like the way you sound, you don't like the way you look, and you don't do it. You're like, okay, and then what happens is, what do you do at that point? Do you go on YouTube and research on how to talk, on how to have persona, and how to have a voice, or how to articulate words, or do you even take it that deep, or do you watch other videos of other people talking about the thing you want to talk about? I'm talking about, this is what I used to do, and then it's like I can't copy these people. It's like it's too fake, and then it's like I have to just be myself, but I have to be fluent. I have to talk because I used to mumble a lot. I used to mumble a lot. Yeah, I used to mumble a lot. I used to say and like, and I hope I don't say those things. And the truth of the matter is, I review some videos sometimes, and I noticed that I was, so I corrected myself, and I had to become humble enough to do that, you know. And you have to be humble enough to correct yourself and know when you're wrong, and all these things. It requires personal development. It requires a certain kind of passion. It requires a certain kind of reason why. And it's past. It's beyond. You know, it's past. It has to go to the point of no return. You know, like really, we live in really awesome times. Like there's new economies being born. You know, and if you have even a certain idea of one, and all you're worried about is, you know, the legal aspect, and you're not focusing on the why do you want that thing that you want, and how is it going to be as an entity, as a corpse, as a corporation, like what does it look like, and what kind of energy is it, you know? Like if you are a like these people I know, I don't know how they do it, but I can imagine, you know, and I think it's very accurate, my imagination. It's like a courier service where they deliver the patient's prescription drugs. It's like a courier service, you know, and it's like a private. It's like pharmacies to patient centers and like things like that. So some people that have this service, you know, and then there, you know, it just starts off as small accounts. It's like a delivery service, you know, and like each delivery is like you make like $15 or something like that, and like you do like 50 deliveries a day. That's decent. That's good money. You know what I mean? You're making like some days making like $400. You know, and but the thing is, like, what do you look like? You know, what kind of pamphlets do you have? What kind of cars do you have? What kind of formations do you have? Even if it's one guy working for you, or you're just working by yourself, and you're just doing it like you're looking fine, but it's like you're not. You're just looking to accumulate money, and from that money doing something else one time, and just leaving this business. Then you just get energy. You're not the right energy. If you were the energy of, no, I'm saying it's not. There's not right and wrong. It's just not efficient. Okay, if you change your energy, as in you become a vessel, you become the energy of being a medium for old people and their lifeline medicine. You become the entity that delivers that. That's by your logo. That is by the way your car is. That's by your whole get up, your whole uniform. You know, what does this avatar look like? You know, and you have business. What kind of business card do you have? What kind of, you know, are you refining your talk? If you talk too much with a foreign accent and you're dealing with, like, I'm talking about, let's be legit here, old white people, okay, and you're dealing with their associations that have access to the whole thousands of people that live in their section, that if you knew what energy is and all that stuff, that you can see, and you can formulate certain ways that you just get invited by those things, that those entities, those gatekeepers, and you get more business, you know, because you become like this energy because of this corporation, because of its logo, the way it looks, the way the cars are, they're all excellent looking. Then you have then the thing is, you start building business, right? Then you hire more people, then you train them, and then you have dispatchers, and then it's like, fuck, now you got like freaking $20,000, you know. Okay, not 20, fine, let's see, 5,000. Yeah, you have like $20,000, or let's just say, fine, at a low amount, $10,000 a day delivery service, which I've seen. Okay, I've seen delivery services where that's how they were set up, though, and they're set up by all these old school guys, you know, that basically had like a system going, you know, and they're involved. The whole family is involved, and it was literally like this brand, you know, but they had an old school way. They didn't have, like, you know, bookkeeping and stuff like that. It was just like, you know, it's like an old cab company, you know, with papers all around, you know, it's like that. It's like, oh, where's the other contract? Oh, it's like they just do their rounds, and they just, you know, it just force a habit, because that's what happened back in the day, you know, back in the 80s or whatever. It was that easy, you know, just do anything and you get money, you know. If you want to make more money, you go this way, and you want to do this. It's like a system they had. It's just for money. And if the corporation just lives on money, then it's like it's living on just a false sense of security. But if it lives on its energy of what it is, then it changes that vibration, and it's like it becomes aware of itself, you know, and it wants to grow, you know. Imagine it's aware of imagine the corporation of whatever company you have becomes aware of itself and what it is, and it's like that robot. It's like it becomes aware that the humans are the problem, so it kills all humans, you know. It's like that. The corporation becomes aware of itself, and it kills all energies that don't allow it to grow. So it's like corporations that don't allow ideas that come from the heart of the company. You might be at the heart of the company, you know, or you might be at the leg of the company, but you have so much love for what you do. It's like the heart. It's like the heart energy. It draws from the heart energy draws from you. You know, it's like it lives from you, and then it draws you to go closer to the heart by allowing you to go into a meeting, but being quiet, you know. But then you're not being told to be quiet. You just tell yourself, hey, no, be quiet. They're letting you in, and you're seeing the big wig and the millionaires right there, and oh, he had a party with Leonardo last week, and all this shit that you idolize them at. You don't think like that. You think like, okay, you are one of them. That's why your energy is allowed there, because you're there. You can't go there with Kmart thought. You've been allowed. Say you gave it out, and it's like they know that it's your first time. They know your history because they vetted you. They're like, okay, who's this guy? It's like, okay, fine. You know what? This guy has this much balls to say this or this, whatever. It's like, do it. It's like, what do you have to lose? It's like you're already at the heart. You are excellent at what you do, and if it's like, because you connect, because other people are at the heart too, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what it says about Islam, and like you're the heart, and if one thing aches and the other thing aches, and like one machine and one ummah and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, it's true. But if you are doing what the masses do, then it's like the masses are usually not in the right. The masses are led. They're led by a certain thought form. A certain, and only in the uniqueness, only in the extremeness, that's where the beauty is, in your extremeness, not in your averageness, in your uniqueness. Everybody has eyes, but do they have your eyes? No. Or does, it's like, doesn't mean that your eyes, everybody has bad eyes or yours is other. No, it's like your eyes are unique, or you're unique. Physically, yeah, there could be somebody that looks just like me, a doppelganger, But in terms of the thoughts and the experience, it's not the same person. You can have identical twins, and they can be in a different part of the world, but you have had similar things happen to you, but in different parts of the world. Like, oh, I broke my hand this time. Oh yeah, I did this too. It's like, it's really crazy how things work out. And it's like a magnetism. It's like magnetism. Because they were one. They were one, split into identical twins. The nafs, the ego, was one because they were born out together, and they were taken away, and maybe they were like, together for a couple hours, but that couple hours, it set the frequency, and it's like when they split, that tie was very, very deep in the mind, in the deep super conscious mind. And as they grew, that mind, it's like it was the foundation, and then things happened in the same frequency from that mind, even taking it to different places, but that same frequency was the same, and it attracted the same frequency. One could be rich, one could be poor, but it can attract the same things, but at its own frequency. Maybe the rich person was attracting like these amazing, the one that grew up rich, at age 15, was, eating like the amazing foods, and deriving a lot of like pleasure out of that, and traveling the world. And maybe the poor one was, having a bicycle, and it was like going to the other neighborhood across the city with his gang of friends, and that was like traveling a different world, going to a different country, the same kind of energy, what I'm saying? That's like a parallel feeling. While eating, eating some summer foods from the ghetto, it's like, it's very, very interesting. And yeah, I think that's enough for today, inshallah. be in the worship, like I said, be in the worship of Allah all the time. It's not just 5 times a day, it's all the time. Because you are the temple. Your body is the temple of that the flow of attributes and the different energies flow through your words, through your action, through your speech, through your essence. Okay? Alright. Remember, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. Assalamu alaikum.